there is a lot of volatility going on in the natural gas market right now. Adjusted for inflation, natural gas futures prices have hit their lowest levels since 1990. This is a total decimation of the market, and these low costs have led to basic materials like steel, concrete, cardboard, fertilizer being very good, having very low costs, which is good for producers that use those input materials.
Yeah.
That's very good for farmers. It's good for U.S. manufacturing. It's awesome that those gas associated products are now cheaper to build more finished goods with. Consumers are also seeing some benefit from this. Gas costs were 18% lower this January than they were last January. But there's an issue. Well, issue isn't the right word.
Okay.
But companies are going to be adjusting to this. Companies are preparing to limit their output to match the demand and raise prices. So 18% decrease is not sustainable. We see companies pulling back on their investment, right? They're already not going to be able to, they're not going to produce or invest as much in new natural gas production while these prices of natural gas are so low.
Yeah.
Which is good for our fight against climate change.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Because consumer behavior will change with prices rising, and thus it will incentivize further limiting of production, which means less is going to be burned and less is going to be emitted.
Yeah, so Chesapeake is one of the biggest producers in the country, and they said it's going to cut its production by 20% in 2024.
That's huge.
Compared to last year. They're going to cut their production by a fifth.
That's huge. We just need to make sure that our replacements, our renewable replacements, are in place. Natural gas is used widely, for example, in heating buildings.
Yes. Well, then that's a really good thing, because now this is exactly where I'm going to next.
Okay.
So demand for gas has been unusually low this year, and especially over the last 2 years. And why is that? Well, cities in the north region of the country, Minneapolis, Cleveland, they have experienced their mildest winter since 1950. So it's a really weird situation where climate change made the earth warmer. So now we have to burn less fossil fuels to heat our homes and buildings.
That's really interesting, because I've read other reports of slowing economic activity in January being because of an abnormally cold winter. And I wonder if that's in other parts of the country.
It's probably on other parts of the country that don't rely on natural gas for their heat.
Maybe.
Well, then, yeah, that's the only way it would be explainable.
Maybe just lower population centers, where otherwise lower population centers, but places where industrial build out would happen.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. The big issue here is in relation to the storage of all this gas. So all this gas isn't being consumed. So it has to be stored somewhere. And as of February 16th, storage facilities for natural gas are 22% more full than the 5-year average at this time of the year. So there is just a massive backlog of all of this natural gas. Now, what is good is that the United States is selling some of this natural gas abroad, right? We're liquefying it, now selling it abroad. So that's good that these companies have another market to sell the gas over to.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I would hope they're selling it to India and China, and thus that it can replace coal.
But sadly, it's not. It's being sold to Europe, which also, if you're talking about Germany, might go and replace coal.
Yes.
Because they're clowns over there.
Yeah. Well, they're terrified of not having energy.
Yeah. So now what's crazy about this is people don't expect the prices to rise anytime soon. And what's my evidence for that? Well, put option sales for the right to sell gas at certain prices are having lower and lower strike prices. Now, what does this mean if you didn't take a finance class ever? So put options means you are buying the right to sell something at a lower cost later time. So you can say, I bet, your drum set is going to be worth $10 later, even if it's only worth $100, right? Even if it's worth $100 right now. So I'm going to give you $5 for the right to sell your drum set at $10 at a certain point if it reaches this or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. What's happening is people are buying put options for strike prices as low as 50 cents. Right now, there are 50 cents per million British thermal units. Right now, the natural gas costs $1.50 of British thermal units. So a lot of investors are expecting the price to be a third of what it is today. And $1.50 is already massively historically low.
Yeah.
So the fact that some investors are expecting it to drop that much, it says a lot. it says a lot also about like maybe these investors are seeing these put options or are buying these because they think maybe our transition to green energy is going to go better than a lot of people think.
Maybe I'm hopeful of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That's hope.
Yeah, because I guess my understanding isn't that the transition for example, heating buildings, right? I know natural gas is also used for electricity generation, but I didn't think the transition was going that fast. So I'm skeptical that this is a structural change that we're seeing. This is a response to rather than a temporary capitalization.
Yeah,
right,
I think it's a temporary capitalization. We just have to see what happens from there. And I know like Biden did something recently with selling natural gas abroad, right? He limited new permits.
Yeah, he paused approval of new permits for exports.
Right.
Yeah.
So that only increases the backlog here of this natural gas at home. Right?
True. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what's going on in the natural gas market. Really interesting stuff.